Sides of the story, highlighting the positive role of the Jamaican diaspora. Sides of the story. Time now for both sides of the story of Power 106 FM. We will not take sides, but we listen to your side. Join us as we explore the issues, test the facts, speak with the experts, and as always, listen to both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. 922-4112, 922-4113, 922-4114, and 922-4115. You will listen to both sides of the story on the Cleveland website, www.jamaica.com, on your mobile phones at 2 or by dialing 832-551.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair. Aux input mode.
Both sides 106 at live.com, and you can join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or link us up on Skype. We look forward to receiving your instant messages on MSN or Yahoo, your text messages on 365-3346. Remember, we have one mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106.
To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. It is right, it should be so. Man was made for joy and woe. And when this we rightly know, through the world we safely go. Joy and woe are woven fine, a clothing for the soul divine. Under every grief and pine runs a joy with silken twine. The strongest poison ever known came from Caesar's laurel crown. Naught can deform the human race, like to the armor's iron brace. Every night and every morn, some to misery are born. Every morn and every night, some are born to sweet delight. Some are born to sweet delight. Some are born to endless night. God appears and God is light to those poor souls who dwell in night, but does a human form display to those who dwell in realms of day.
Where have you been, my brown-eyed son? Where have you been, my darling young one? I've stumbled on the side of 12 misty mountains. I've walked walked and I've crawled on 6 crooked highways. I've stepped in the middle of 7 sad forests. I've been out in front of a deserted ocean. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What did you see, my brown-eyed son? What did you see, my darling young one? Saw a newborn baby with roots all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw a blood branch with blood that kept dripping. I saw a room full of men with their hammers a bleeding. I saw one color all covered with water. I saw 10,000 takers whose tongues were all broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What did you hear, my brown-eyed son? What did you hear, my darling young one? I heard the sound of a thunder, it roared out a warning. I heard the roar of a wave that could drown the whole world. I heard 100 drummers whose hands were a-blazing. I heard 10,000 whispers with nobody listening. I heard one person stop, I heard many people laughing. Heard the song of a poet who died in the gutter. Heard the sound of a clown who cried in the alley. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. Who did you meet, my brown-eyed son? Who did you meet, my darling young one? I met a young child beside a dead pony. I met a white man who walked a black dog. I met a young woman whose body was burning. I met a young girl, she gave me a rainbow. I met one man who was wounded in love. I met another man who was wounded with hatred. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What do you do now, my brown-eyed son? What do you do now, my darling young one? I'm a going back out for the rain starts a falling. I'll walk to the depths of the deepest black forest, where the people are many and their hands are all empty, where the pellets of poison are flooding their water, where the home in the valley meets the captor to prison, where the executioner's face is always well hidden, where the hunger is ugly, where souls are forgotten, where black is the color, where none is the number. And I'll feel it and think it and speak it and breathe it. And reflect it on the mountain so all souls can hear it. And I stand on the ocean until I start sinking. And I know my soul's well before I start singing. It's a hard, 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 it's a falling. It's a hard, 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 it's a falling.
A hard rain is a gonna fall. Jimmy Cliff's rendition of Bob Dylan's song, A Hard Rain is a Gonna Fall. And before that, The Auguries of Innocence, an edited version by William Blake. The Auguries of Innocence by William Blake, which we edited. And A Hard Rain is a Gonna Fall by Jimmy Cliff. 2021 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and the Decade of Action for Road Safety. It's the 20th day of the 9th month of 2022, the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, the International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Glass, and the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. Put another way, it's the 20th day of the 4th month of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, and the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, has been updating us. Let's see the latest update from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida on Hurricane Fiona. Fiona continues to bring hurricane conditions to portions of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Earlier on, we also read that heavy rainfall and localized life-threatening flash flooding should continue over portions of the Dominican Republic today. Heavy rains should continue to impact the Turks and Caicos through this afternoon, with continued life-threatening flooding, localized. Additional flash and urban flooding is possible in Puerto Rico. Hurricane conditions are affecting portions of the Turks and Caicos Islands, while tropical storm conditions should affect portions of the southeastern Bahamas during the next few hours. Interests in Bermuda should continue to monitor the progress of Fiona. In fact, one of our regular listeners, Joan in Bermuda, has sent us, let's see, where is it now? She sent us a message, information from the Minister of National Security in Bermuda. The Ministry of National Security in Bermuda is advising that it has been closely monitoring the forecast of Hurricane Fiona. It's anticipated that Hurricane Fiona could have an impact on Bermuda later this week. The Minister of National Security, Michael Weeks, notes that the Emergency Measures Organization will convene a meeting early this week to get the latest update from the Bermuda Weather Service. However, the public is encouraged to ensure they are storm ready. Make any small repairs around their home, secure outdoor furniture. This goes for all of us, actually. Whether we're being threatened by a system or another, by one system or another. We need to know this. This should be second nature. Review family plans and update them with any changes to phone numbers and other important information. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15. Supreme Real Estate, licensed real estate dealers, the experts in residential, commercial, industrial, hotels, and villa sales, rentals, and leases. Supreme Real Estate, Main Street, Salem, Runaway Bay, St. Anne. Call 973-5026 or 876-973-6142 and email supremerealestate@cwjamaica.com. You are an exporter, helping to elevate the face of our international trade. But in order to do that, and all the other tasks on your list, you need someone that understands you. We know that finding adequate collateral as a SME can sometimes be challenging, which is why we've partnered with our friends at German B to bring you the Exim Export Guarantee to give you that extra collateral support where you may need it. Find out more about the Exim Export Guarantee. Exim Bank. Helping businesses, we save lives and livelihood.
Some of the other pointers coming out of Bermuda, reminders, especially during this hurricane season, stock up on any medical prescriptions that your family and pets require and ensure you have at least 2 weeks' supply on hand. Check your hurricane kit to make sure you have working flashlights, a portable radio with spare batteries, and a stock of non-perishable food to last your family for 7 days. Ensure your house insurance policy is up to date. Check on your vulnerable neighbors and ask them if they need any help with their preparations. Residents are encouraged to keep abreast of updates regarding Hurricane Fiona. And that's the information straight out of Bermuda. They are keeping an eye on Fiona as well. Now, if we could bring it a little closer to home now, in terms of on the local weather scene here in Jamaica. Information supplied by the National Meteorological Service. And just waiting on the page to populate so that we can bring you up to date with the information as far as the local weather forecast is concerned from the National Meteorological Service. While the page waits to populate, let's move on and go to, here it is. Right, so what has happened is that there is an induced trough across Jamaica. In other words, something caused it. It didn't form. It wasn't formed through the normal, in keeping with the normal processes in the formation of a trough. So it is an induced trough across Jamaica. Why is it induced? It was caused by something else. And what is that something else? Well, this induced trough across Jamaica is associated with Hurricane Fiona. And this induced trough is expected to remain across Jamaica until tomorrow, Wednesday. Thereafter, a ridge will build across the island. So let's remind ourselves of a couple of things before we move on. When we speak of a trough, we're talking about clouding, rain, thunderstorms, usually unstable weather. A trough is always associated with some weather activity either directly or indirectly. This one in particular that we've been telling you about was induced essentially by Hurricane Fiona, because this induced trough is associated with Hurricane Fiona and is expected to remain across the island until tomorrow, Wednesday. Thereafter, a ridge will build across the island. Now, remember, we have said before that the opposite of a trough is a ridge. The ridge usually denotes fair weather. So a ridge is really an extension from a high pressure area. Now, in terms of the forecast for the rest of this afternoon here in Jamaica, isolated showers and thunderstorms expected across sections of central and eastern parishes. Elsewhere, partly cloudy, and tonight will become fair. So that's the latest information we have as far as Hurricane Fiona and other weather systems are concerned. Let's look at the observances for the month of September. It is still being observed as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, National Senior Citizens Month, Employers Month, Alopecia Awareness Month. Remember, alopecia refers to partial or complete hair loss, baldness. September is also Travel Agents Month and Cheese Month. In the United States, September is Blood Cancer Awareness Month, Healthy Aging Month, National Atrial Fibrillation Awareness Month, National Childhood Obesity Awareness Month, National Cholesterol Education Month, National Food Safety Education Month, National Idiopathic Thrombocytopenic Purpura ITP Awareness Month. Idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura is an immune disorder in which the blood does not clot normally. It's a condition that is more commonly referred to as immune thrombocytopenia, or ITP for short. Also in the United States, September is National Pediculosis Prevention Month. Pediculosis, when you hear that word, think head lice, head lice. So Head Lice Prevention Month, National Recovery Month, National Sickle Cell Month, National Yoga Awareness Month, Newborn Screening Awareness Month, Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, Pain Awareness Month, Polycystic Ovary Syndrome, PCOS Month, Sepsis Awareness Month. Sepsis is a serious condition resulting from the presence of harmful microorganisms in the blood or other tissues, and how the body responds to their presence, potentially leading to the malfunctioning of various organs of the body, shock, and death. September is also Sexual Health Awareness Month, Sports Eye Safety Month, and World Alzheimer's Month. It's Liberation Day in East Timor, and this week is being observed as Breastfeeding Week, National Breastfeeding Week here in Jamaica. This is National Senior Citizens Month, as we mentioned earlier on, I believe. And I'm thinking, I've been trying to confirm if it's this week or next week. We know that this week we are scheduled to broadcast live the National Senior Citizens Spelling Bee competition. That's going to be live on both sides of the story here on Paro 106 FM this Thursday, all things being well. So we'll be cheering on our senior citizens. Hoy es martes, el 20 de septiembre 2022, y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir both sides of the story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continua para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est mardi le 20 septembre 2022 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service pour une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme allant de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Tuesday, the 20th of September, 2022, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never, ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome. It's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Morant Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you have downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free, listening is free, whenever, wherever. We acknowledge those of you who have dialed a designated number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States and the United Kingdom. Those in the US who wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM can call 631-359-8281, 631-359-8281. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330-606-0953, 0330-606-0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook in the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. If you don't have a Facebook page, no sweat. There's always, or a Facebook account for that matter, there's always YouTube. You don't need an account to access YouTube. All you need is a smartphone, a tablet, computer, laptop, desktop, any one of those. Then you need internet connection, but importantly, internet connectivity. So use a browser like Google Chrome, for example, to test for connectivity by opening the browser. And if you're able to browse, that means you're connected. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 2:30. Monkeypox is in Jamaica. If you're experiencing fever, intense headache, muscle aches, and/or rash on the skin, you must isolate immediately and call ahead to your health center or doctor before visiting. All members of the public should wear a mask, frequently wash hands, and practice physical distancing. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
During the dry season, the National Irrigation Commission Limited encourages farmers to incorporate these tips. Irrigate early in the day to reduce evaporation, control weeds as they compete for water, use mulch to conserve moisture in soil, keep animals in shaded areas, and allow animals to go out at night. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play with its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
What did you see, my darling?
Let's clear some of these messages. Let's remind you, though, did we give you the details? Well, if we didn't, here we go. You're free to call us. The lines are open, 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. That was slow and deliberate. You must have caught at least one of those numbers. 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page, as we said, and we're also streaming on YouTube. Looking forward to hearing from you. The lines are open, and let's get the discussions going. Whatever your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions, your issues, your recommendations, whatever is on your mind, we're ready. Let's have it. Norman Hines in St. Thomas says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan Malcolm and listeners. It's a rainy day here in St. Thomas, Jamaica. Stay warm and dry, Norman Hines, on this rainy day in St. Thomas, Jamaica. Hubert Fowlin says, a very pleasant good afternoon to you and the listening audience. Good afternoon, Hubert Fowlin. Natalie Winter says, great afternoon all from wet weather, Washington Gardens, Kingston 20. Take care in this weather, she says. And then she sends us another message, Natalie Winter, that is. She says, Dervan, raining like hell on earth outside. Oh, you got some exposure to hell, Natalie Winter. Good afternoon to Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine as well, always on. Mikey D, where's Mikey D again? Mikey D is in London, I believe. London or Atlanta, I'll remember in a moment. And Mikey D says, hello, Julia. Well, hello, Julia, wherever you are, somewhere in cyberspace. Sharon Richards in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland says, blessed afternoon, Sir Malcolm, and all listeners near and far. I greet you well. Let's take time to give thanks for life as we watch the weather. Indeed. And not just watch the weather, but prepare for the weather, Sharon Richards. Cherry Henry, good afternoon to you as well. Thank you very much for joining us. We accept afternoon greetings on behalf of the listeners. And you have a good day or enjoy the rest of the day as well. Over on YouTube, Ras Ayuda says blessings. Blessings, Ras Ayuda in the UK as well. And, well, the UK crew out in their numbers. Asha Ash is also on. She says, hi, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan. Just tuning in from London, UK. Welcome, Asha Ash from London, UK. As your nation continues to come to grips with the death of Queen Elizabeth II and the succession of by the queen's son, one of her sons, uh, formerly Prince Charles, now King Charles III. Good afternoon to Jennifer Stewart from Kew Road in Kencott, East Central St. Andrew. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Let's look at the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. As you would imagine, lots of messages, and we're doing our best to clear them. James in East London has sent us the usual collection of stories. Who is King Charles III's private bodyguard? That's this man we have been seeing, bearded fellow, appears to be Indian or of Indian descent. And he's been very busy over the last couple of weeks from what we have seen. And so let's take a look at this story, because that's the question that those of us who have been monitoring what's been going on in the UK, that's one of the many questions. Who is that bodyguard? That's a new one. Was he always there? He looks like a very serious fellow. So here's the story. King Charles III's security team has been attracting their fair share of attention in recent days, as the new monarch has been out greeting the crowds in the wake of Queen Elizabeth II's death. However, one of them in particular has attracted attention on social media. Wait for it. The security guard has seen accompanying the monarch on several of his recent social engagements, with many on TikTok and other sites comparing him to a character from the Kingsman film franchise. Who is King Charles's private bodyguard, and how did the comparisons come about? The king's private bodyguard has not officially been named, although the bearded security officer has been ever present at his public appearances in recent days. He was heard asking crowds to put their phones down as the new monarch greeted well-wishers outside Buckingham Palace following his return to London. "Phones down as we come past, please," he was heard saying, telling the public to enjoy the moment. However, it's his umbrella which has attracted the most interest, and therefore the Kingsman comparison, causing him to go viral on TikTok. Many have likened him to Colin Firth's character, Harry Hart, referring to the umbrella he has been carrying as a gunbrella, similar to the gadget-laden device Firth's character carries in that film. "That thing he's holding is a gunbrella, not an umbrella," one person commented on Twitter, while another added, "I love him. He needs to be the next James Bond. Such an amazing guy." Not only has he been attracting attention, but the royal bodyguards in general have come under the spotlight, with some suggesting their hands may not be moving. It's been suggested their hands are decoys for weapons hidden beneath their coats. And over the years, there have been rumors they use fake hands and arms in order to keep the likes of an FNP-90 rifle under their coats, should the worst happen. But nothing has ever been proven. Yes, I've always been fascinated by the just security in general. I have this interest in security and close protection security, and just being security conscious. Right, because we thank James in East London for sending us this story, because we had been wondering who this. Well, you could surmise that he's a part of the security detail of the king, but perhaps not as much information as we have gotten now from this story that James in East London has forwarded to us. Here's another one. Met police officer charged after sending racist WhatsApp messages. Yeah, they don't play with acts of racism these days in the UK. Once a report is made, they act on it. So let's see if we can bring this up. Met police charged after sending racist WhatsApp messages. So they are trying to, well, they're continuing their clampdown on racism. So the story is a Met police officer has been charged after allegedly sending racist WhatsApp messages and has been suspended by the force since December 2021. PC Thomas Phillips, who has been part of the force's intelligence branch, faces 5 counts of sending offensive messages. But this is also threatening freedom of speech, though, you know. It's fine and well to say don't send people racist messages. But what about freedom of speech? People, there are those listening to us who would say, but aren't they free to express themselves in terms of what they think about an individual or individuals? There is that as well. That's the world we live in now, you know. I mean, you have to be sensitive to everybody. That's the world we live in right now. So we have to take into account every single human being. No one treated any less. But if we always have to be mindful of freedom, liberty in general, freedom of expression. All right, we'll come back to that another time, perhaps. Here's another story sent to us by James in East London. Anger as Chancellor Kwesi Kwarteng spotted laughing and is accused, and some accused him of taking a phone call during the proceedings of the Queen's funeral at Westminster Abbey. Kwarteng has received public backlash after he was spotted laughing during the Queen's funeral at Westminster. See, everybody's under scrutiny because the moment was supposed to be somber and sobering and in silence. That's how it is. And this one says, we will not let you succeed. Leicester's Muslim and Hindu leaders issue an impassioned plea for an end to the tension seen in the city recently. They gathered on the steps of a city mosque this morning to stress the historic bonds of friendship between the two faiths in the city. Come on, you're supposed to be better than that. Thank you very much, James in East London, for the usual collection of stories. Thank you. And thank you, Joan in Bermuda. We did receive that update with respect to Hurricane Fiona. Thank you. And as it relates to Bermuda, of course. And let's see now. Raskaba has sent us a couple of videos which we haven't been able to preview. Jamaica Poetry Festival 2022. This one says, hi, Dervan. This is Calvin Lake. A new storm in the works, 700 miles from the Caribbean islands of Trinidad and Tobago, etc. Could name Gaston or Hermine by Sunday, reaches Jamaica while Fiona fades. Yes, I did see that in preparing for the program. One moment, please.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45. Did you know that the National Irrigation Commission Limited is the sole authority for irrigation systems in Jamaica? The National Irrigation Commission Limited enables the improvement in agricultural productivity through the provision of efficient and affordable irrigation to farmers and other customers. Contact them 977-6624 or 977-6727 or visit their website www.nicjamaica.com to learn more. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Jamaica's only on refinery, serving our energy needs. Committed to nation building in all our activities. We are Petrogen, fueling this generation. We are Petrogen, touching the lives of every Jamaican. We say the code we take, the products we make. You can count on us to see you through. We are Petrogen.
Petrojam, serving Jamaica's energy needs.
The Issa Manning Cup schoolboy football competition is in full swing, and Power Play will bring you live reports and updates on the football matches. Listen to every Tuesday at 7:15 p.m. right here on Power 106 FM. Live reports will be brought to you by Chada Distributors Limited, KFC, and Ellis Duane and Company Limited.
I saw a room full of men with their hammers are bleeding.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Just getting an update from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, that apart from Hurricane Fiona, which we've mentioned, there is tropical depression 8. The 8th tropical depression of the season has formed over the central Atlantic. So there's a lot of activity within the region, because then and outside the region as well, because as far as the Pacific is concerned, the Eastern North Pacific, they're also looking at Madeline. Madeline forecast to become post-tropical soon. Rough surf and rip current conditions affecting portions of southern Baja California. So a lot of unstable weather in the region. And we're looking at the map here. We're looking at Fiona, which is to the northern section of Cuba, and we also see the 8th tropical depression out at sea as well. So a lot to monitor. We'll continue to keep our eyes and ears wide open and trust that we don't get too much of an impact from any of these systems. In the meantime, though, let's just make sure we are prepared, although none of these systems is a threat to Jamaica at this time. Bonjour to Monsieur Clément Villiers. Good to have you online. Good afternoon to you. He says, good day, Mr. Malcolm. Good day from Baltimore. Good to have you on board. Thank you. Let's go to the phone lines once again. 876-922-4112-5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir. Good day to you.
Good day, Raskava.
Yeah, man. I don't know if I'm naive or what is a better word to be thinking what I am thinking about the Prime Minister's visit to the funeral and the mood of his transportation.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that when any head of state or visitors come and then drive in a limousine or open top view so that they can look out of view, yet then go pack up the Prime Minister and I want both to have it on a window and look through glass and
He was in a bus as well. We didn't see any evidence of that. How do you know he was in a bus?
I thought I heard it on some report over there that the Prime Minister, Jamaica Prime Minister, traveled in a bus.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
did not do an approved check on that, but
Yeah,
I heard
the beast was flown in from the USA to the UK. That's the beast that's the president's vehicle, the president's motor vehicle, Joe Biden. So they transported his vehicle to the UK so that he could be transported around. I believe Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, also had his vehicle, and I think who was the other person? At least one other, but everybody else got on the coaches, as they say in the UK, the coaches, the buses. So the Africans were on the buses, the African leaders from the different countries on the continent, and there were other presidents and prime ministers. I saw Jacinda Ardern coming out of a car. She's a New Zealand prime minister. I'm trying to remember who else, but I don't know that. I don't know. Up to this point, we don't know if the prime minister was transported in one of those Range Rovers made by the UK, or he was one of those on the bus. We don't have any evidence thus far to say he was on the bus. But hey, it shouldn't matter. There's nothing wrong in riding the bus.
no, sir. No use the travel from bus out here. So when them the diplomat come here, we travel, we transport them royally around from one place to the other. And all the head of states should have been transported royally.
No, but remember, well, you would have had to have had an insight into the security and transportation apparatus of the logisticians who are involved in planning and scheduling activities over the last couple of weeks to come to that conclusion. Because
so why don't it somewhere in the bus and some in other transport?
Because that is how it worked out.
That some would be more protected than some then?
No, they would be no less protected.
So why bus
there are thousands of military and civilian clothed individuals all over to protect everybody. Mm-hmm.
I would expect that. But why some would go into the bus and some going to stretch limo and some going at the beach and some going at a car and whatever?
Yeah.
That means some would be seen highly than some.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. I mean, you're free to draw your own conclusion, but I don't think that is the case because they've never been stretched before in the history of the UK. They've never ever been this stretched before. So they had to do what they had to do to maximize the impact of their security blanket across the UK.
I don't know if anybody's life would be at check this up.
Really?
Thousands of people gather around.
That's a perfect place. Anybody who wanted to make a statement, that would be the perfect place for them to drop something.
Or a suicide person.
I didn't say that, but anything is possible.
I must be a suicidal person to be in such a crowd and go try anything. But you know, it's still a bad me said none of them not come to it. Governor General's funeral or Governor's General funeral or any prime ministers that died here. So why is it so important that so many heads of states have to be there? Why?
No, we have had deceased prime ministers in this country being paid respect by foreign leaders from all over the world. That has happened in this country.
Yeah, but not from the monarch.
So For a moment there, I thought I was talking to Ras Lloyd with the monarchy, but you, you sound as if you are enamored by the monarchy. What's happening, Rascava?
No, I am.
They got to you?
We are not a people of a lesser race. So if they don't see it important to pay the same homage to us, we are not obligated to do it. We are all equal in the Creator's sight. So I say why we have to do what they never think of doing. I would not be doing. And that's all I look for, brethren. We are not of a lesser race. And neither the monarchy is of a higher race.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the people who are in charge of security, national security, and international security, whenever you're dealing with world leaders, more than 500 world leaders alone, more than 500. Imagine if each of them were being transported by one vehicle, and the level of congestion, etc.
You don't have to pile them up in a one.
Not individual vehicles, because you were saying, why they don't have their own car, and I'm saying, but surely the logisticians who worked out, if you're looking at the entire, if I could call it a production, the entire production was actually very well done, expertly done.
Right. So they could have 500.
No, it's excellently done because they worked out all of that, including putting people on buses, putting leaders on buses. That's why it worked out.
Well, that's it. Another one that I see floating around that I was talking to the herb about is the Ministry of Health building.
Which one of them?
You know it?
Which one of them?
I don't have Ministry of Health building in Kingston or more than one.
Come on, they have. There's one that used to be, well, I don't know if it's still there. There's a brand new building near Tasty on Knutsford Boulevard, which apparently, based on how it is decorated, it seems to be a brand new Ministry of Health building. Now, the Ministry of Health, as I understand it, there's a, where is that now? Is it Dominica Drive? Not Dominica. One of those roads that run off Dominica Drive near, I think there's a building owned by Digicel, possibly. And the Ministry of Health has offices there.
No, it is the Ministry of Health building. That's what I see on the sign. So they should have been saying Ministry of Health office if it is sharing space with other buildings.
Anyway, which one are you talking about? You go ahead and tell us which one.
That's why I asked which anyone downtown. All right, let's say
one used to be when the old Oceana Hotel closed, it was converted into the Ministry of Health building. Ministry of Health used to operate from that building. But of course, that is no more because that is now the Rock Hotel on the waterfront.
So it would have been that one. But the point is that actually, love some of my video they when we send to you, let me not send it to you, but on it, you see at the right side, yes, on the camera's position, Ministry of Health building. And to the left, which look like the front entrance, large building. So I am wondering if the Ministry of Health or the large building is sharing space. And if not, why would they have such a Masonic?
Well, first of all, Rascava, it's not a crime to be a member of the lodge.
Neither did I say that.
And number two, like any other group of people or individuals, they own property. So, for example, there's a building in Mandeville, Manchester, which I just thought was a regular event building until I found out that it was owned by the lodge. But they host a lot of events there. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM.
Hello,
The time is
afternoon.
now
1 moment,
3
please.
o'clock.
For 50 years, Under the Law has been helping you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. And we continue to do this in 2022. The program is brought to you on Wednesdays by the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Of course.
6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and 9:55 p.m. on Power 106 FM.
Yes.
It's probing.
There has not been a single
No, that would create a nightmare, a real nightmare for the security detail. Yeah.
Jamaica forward.
I know people are out there screaming, yes, but it's not just this government. I don't cheer. Fix it and stop screaming. Govern, man, govern. Whoever is there.
Featuring the
That's
bottom
right.
line with also the best public affairs
That's right.
on Jamaican radio.
Part of the national campaign against inflation. We have to
Crazy.
have a shake-up of the public sector boards leading to increased efficiency, cut the corruption and the mismanagement, and get the agents.
There are many. There's one up the road here. They're quite, yeah.
Weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Identifying challenges and finding solutions in a globalized world. Dr. Herbert Gale on Mondays and Tuesdays. Simon Crosskill from Wednesday to Friday on Power 106 FM. Join us.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. Is Raskaba still there? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
I just sent it to your in your phone, so probably on your next break you can look at it and comment then. But you know,
Hold on, let me see if you're the one these messages are for. There's a string of messages here. Where did they go? All right, so this one says, so what if he was on a special bus? Why would any reporter single out the Jamaica PM? This man is being very difficult. He's trying to say that the PM is holding on to the monarchy and he's being shuttled by a bus.
well, I don't know if I'm guilty of what the person just said. I know that the PM is holding on to the monarchy, yes, but I don't know if I'm guilty of everything that was said there. But you know, ones are free. Words break my bone, so I will not envy anyone to say what's on their mind because you are free. So, hearing as you were saying earlier that freedom of speech, but don't your freedom of speech stop where it affects me?
Oh yes, but that doesn't stop people from questioning the dumbing down of their self-expression.
Not at all, because there's no question that is ever wrong. The answer is always wrong. No question is ever wrong. So, you choose to answer the question and not answer it, but the questions are never wrong. That's why I may ask so much questions, you know. That's how I learn.
Yeah.
Give thanks again, my virgin. Now you'll comment on the video that I sent when you have some time.
All right. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Have a blessed Tuesday. Thank you, Velta Wilson. All the very best. Let's see who else is messaging us on this Tuesday afternoon here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Here's a caller coming through on our text line, same as our WhatsApp number. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dervan.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, the bill
building where Raskava attack, I heard him this morning on the earlier program. It's on Dominica Drive. I think it's Barbados Avenue in Kingston, right across from Sagicor head office.
Yes, it's Barbados. Yes, Barbados
Yeah,
Avenue.
but that building is not owned by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness rent
Yeah, that.
rent
Yeah.
a suite. I think the Ministry of Health is on the second or third floor. So the Freemason, which is on the ground floor, and the Freemason control the first floor and the second floor. That don't have anything to do with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Yeah, that's the point I was making. The people own. Yeah, people own buildings, and the buildings are rented, and it is what it is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, the government ministry, I think it's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have their own building which recently opened. Others rent buildings, rent offices and other buildings.
And it would suit us to stop renting and start owning more. And all we need to do then, once we own these buildings, is to maintain them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's right on Barbados Avenue. It's the last building on Barbados Avenue. And you have Sagicor on the right-hand side going down.
Yes.
So I don't see anything wrong with it. Look, so it would be wrong to have a Freemason building right across from the bakery, right on Beechwood Avenue there.
There's a bakery on Beechwood Avenue?
National is on Beechwood Avenue. Yeah. I have a Freemason right in front of it as well.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. So I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks for the call.
This is on Barbados Avenue.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Take care. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story. Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Let's continue. And read that message already. Raskava is busy typing. Yes, we see the building. It's the same building. Same building. Right. So there's nothing strange. So whoever put the caption on, look what is on the Ministry of Health Jamaica building. It's a rented building. It's neither here nor there. Herman, Miss June in Norway says, good evening, good afternoon, Jamaica time. One of the nicest things in London is taking the bus for me. So I love to take the train in London, not the bus, the train. Yeah, the overground and the underground. Very nice. Anyway, right, she says, so I can imagine the celebrities with the private buses. Hope you understand what I am saying. All right, Miss June, thank you very much for sharing with us. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, has sent us a voice note and also a written message. Well, let's go with the written message for the time being. Mr. Malcolm, good afternoon. Did you know that a doctor can have his tools that he uses to work in his transportation or material that he needs to work with, or a lawyer who has his tools that he used to do his work or materials he used? They don't need a green plate to transport whatever he or she has. But if you are a carpenter or a gardener, the government is telling you that you need a green plate to transport your tools and materials that you are going to use to do your work. Is that right, Mr. Malcolm? Well, here is your opportunity, Horace, otherwise known as Spider, to form an association. Maybe the artisans of Jamaica, I don't know, the plumbers of Jamaica, the gardeners of Jamaica, or tradesmen cooperative. I would suggest that you form such an organization so that you can lobby government with respect to your allowances as far as transporting your tools is concerned. That's what I would suggest. Now would be a good time. And then you use the opportunity as well to address the issues having to do with how we arrive at how much money is supposed to be charged for a particular plumbing work, electrical work, masonry, gardening, etc. Because as it is now, our impression is that people are just being given a money. Yeah, man, we just give them a money and everything all right. In other words, you're not being paid based on a scale, an established, standardized scale. It's a big problem in this country. So many of our people are underpaid because there is no standard. I just decide, boy, I care, I want fixing, I don't have no money, so I gotta charge a big money for that job, yeah, so I can fix the car. That's not how it's supposed to be. So here's some work for you, Horace, otherwise known as Spider. Start an association, an organization, tradesmen, Jamaica Tradesmen Cooperative or something like that. And you can lobby the government on the matter you raised. And you also get an opportunity to assist your fellow tradesmen in professionalizing their respective vocations. That's what I would suggest, Horace, otherwise known as Spider. So you could become that trailblazer, the person who started it all. How about that? And Raskava is asking on WhatsApp, should it not be called a Ministry of Health office instead of a Ministry of Health building? Well, even if you didn't call it that, people would refer to it as such because they know the Ministry of Health operates out of it. So 6 of one, half dozen the other, as my late mother would say. Thank you for your message on WhatsApp. And this is coming in. Here's a call coming in on WhatsApp from Barbara Horton. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. This was so quick. I just dialed number. You answer so quick, man.
Yes, magic.
I'm happy to hear your voice. Good afternoon to all your listeners all over the world. How have you been?
Giving thanks as usual, and you?
Yes, I'm doing that. I give thanks for one more day each day.
Amen.
Listen to you with a long time we not talk.
Good to have you calling through.
I was planning to call you, but when I heard you said that the workmen them charge different money.
Yes.
I was saying that I would tell this to you. I had a place I had to rewire. And after the gentleman that rewired the house, you have to get somebody else to pass it. He knew somebody. And when he got the person said, just a little 2-room, 45,000 just to come and look to see if it is wired properly, that JPS can come and give me a new meter. Mr. Malcolm, I was so surprised because I did not know the price of those.
Hold on, just to look at it is $45,000?
Just to look at it and see that it's rewired. Not the first rewire and he got his money. I had to buy all the stuff what it was needed, pay him to do the job. The other gentleman, what they call him, supervisor or whatever, he just to come and look at the place to see that it is. He would give me a certificate or a letter to take to JPS to say that the place is wired right.
Right.
Are you following me now?
Yes, fit and proper.
45,000.
45,000. Whoa.
Okay. When you're doing this thing, Mr. Malcolm, you have to shop around.
Yeah.
I called my sister. She knows somebody. That person said 40.
Okay.
I knew this lady that just did the job at her home, so I went and looked for her. Her gentleman charged, the person she knew charged me 15,000.
Well, see, this is the thing. Hold it there. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15. On Wednesday, September 21, join us for a live outside broadcast of Power Talk, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. from Shagor Aggregate, 23 Paisley Avenue, Maypen, when we bring you Clarendon Parish Focus. Clarendon at 60, highlighting some of the success stories, issues, and challenges facing the residents of this parish. This live broadcast is brought to you by Shagor Aggregate, National Self-Serve Wholesale, Total Vision, P&D Williams Heavy Equipment Limited, Geoland Title Limited, and Stoplight Wholesale. That's a broadcast of Power Talk from Shagor Aggregate, 23 Paisley Avenue, Maypen, on Wednesday, September 21, right here on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding, Lady Barbara. So you beautifully helped us to make the point. The fact that you have one at 45,000, another 40, and yet another at 15. And
can you imagine, Mr. Malcolm?
Yes, poles apart.
How much time 15 can come out at 45,000? 3 times, don't it?
Yeah.
If my maths is right. I left school years ago.
Yes.
Can you imagine? I couldn't believe it. And not only that, when the gentleman came and told me the
You're sure you still wanted to call him a gentleman?
No, the one who charged me 15,000 now.
Okay.
When he came, he asked me if that was all right with me. Mr. Malcolm, I couldn't even ask the man to take off $1. I couldn't ask him. My contract couldn't say to me, say, could you take 12? Because I knew I'm coming from 45,000.
Yes.
I told him, okay, that's good. That's all right with me. He came and he looked, just to look in. I'm just going to look to see the place rewire, and he has something that he tests the place where the meter to go, and give me a letter. He just sent something on the phone, and I took it up to JPS and got my meter. 15,000.
Wow.
So in these things, you can't just somebody tell you a price and you just go after it. Yes. You have to check around, ask other people.
True.
You know?
True.
Because when you think of how much you save, you know, it's the gentleman who did the job now, he's saying it's because he have another job. But he's a soldier. But having another job, that he could have still charged me 45,000, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The man is reasonable. I have his number in my phone, Mr. Malcolm. I just want somebody to say, Sister Barbara, whatever, where you know me as. Did you know anybody that do that? I just send his number to them and getting some customers. Yeah. Even the gentleman that had done the place first, take his number from me. Because he's saying that the man he knew charging so dear, so him just will give this person, you know, just to come and look at it, 45,000. Can you imagine? No, man.
Yeah, that's why there has to be a standard. Without that, it's as they say in Jamaica on the streets, anything or anything.
Anything or anything. But I don't take anything for anything, Mr. Malcolm. Maybe it's because I don't have much money. So I check around before I go. Even if I'm going to buy an item at the store. No, I may say, for instance, I want a TV. It's not more than 1 or 2 or 3 places. If it's in the 3, go to 3 and see the price. The same TV I want, and see if the 3 places have 3 different prices.
Yes.
One is the same TV. You understand? I just go to a store and I see a TV and I buy a TV.
And they are so light these days that you can just put it under your arm. Just catch a flight and go and buy one and come back.
I have one here at JPS. That's another thing I want to talk to you about too. JPS is saying because the people bridge the light. So when their light match up my TV or my fridge, they're not responsible. You think that is fair, Mr. Malcolm?
No, you're supposed to be able to report it. I am aware of a situation where the people's big screen TV, as we call it in Jamaica, is just sitting useless right now because
I have one here too, not so big, but I have one here.
Yeah, as we say in Jamaica, it get lick. It get licked. And I think two TVs. I know of a situation where two TVs got hit, and but the householders haven't decided to report it. But you're really supposed to report it to the JPS, and if it can be proven that it was a fault of theirs, then you should be compensated for whatever appliances and entertainment systems have been damaged.
They're saying because other people bridge a light, that is not their responsibility. But I think it's unfair if the people who bridge a light and if their TV mash up, they don't have nothing to go to JPS. But once I pay my light bill, I should be able to go and tell you what time it went, what day it went, and you see if that is, if it is true. And
if it's plausible.
TV or even give me a part of the money. It's lay here. They're not it's not their responsibility. Because and the light post where I get the light from.
Did you? So your TV got hit. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
So
and
did you?
Not their responsibility.
What did you have a surge protector on it?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that's important.
I did not.
It actually works. Okay. We have some Jamaican-made surge protectors. They are excellent. So if there's some electrical fault, and let's just say the thing is attacked, your appliance is attacked in a manner of speaking, that surge protector will absorb the impact. So it will take the hit like a bodyguard, and it will protect your fridge. Yeah.
So it's not.
So it's like yes, the good ones. It's a silver. Okay. You just ask for the Jamaican-made surge protector.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's very good.
Mr. Malcolm,
it's
know
very
that
good.
It's making Jamaican is very good. That
yeah.
is very good. I like that.
Yeah, man, very good.
I tired of buying things and making China on it. Honestly, yes. I love to know that it's
Yes.
Mr. Malcolm, one more thing now. The one that makes us sad every day is the killing. It's not stopping,
Only the people can stop it. And that means all of us, including those who are directly involved in the killings.
Only the people can stop
it. Only Jamaicans can fix Jamaica.
It's not the people that doing the killings, not only them alone can stop it.
All of us have a role to play one way or another. It doesn't, every situation is different. So in some situations, it's a matter of whether a regular citizen like you or me could fail to do something or did something that should not have been done, or having done something, failing to own up to it, or failure to provide, having information. You have information that could result in a positive outcome, and you don't. So it keeps coming back to the people, I believe, and it means every one of us who has a decision to make, from the average citizen, so to speak, straight up to the Governor General.
I don't know, but you wonder when it's going to stop, Yeah. So much hurting, so much people is hurting.
Yeah, and you see, when people are paralyzed, it's easy. No matter how minimal you think an action is, whether criminal or otherwise, there are always those who are going to magnify it. And when that is magnified, it increases a level of anxiety. So everybody catch them afraid, as my late mother would say. And so when you're caught up in a situation, whether one like the people in Old Harbour, in the parish of St. Catherine, got caught up in, and it's almost as if you can't move. If you've ever been in a situation like that, you freeze, right? And so what that does it creates an automatic, everybody who has ever experienced that, every time something like that or similar to that happens, it impacts them. They have an anxiety attack or something like that. And so what that does is to put people in a state of fear. Now, if we were, and I'm not sending people to play superhero, but it has happened over time. There are more than enough documented stories of this happening, where someone is held up and the person in that moment, without even thinking, just grabs the gun, for argument's sake. You'd be amazed at how quickly the individual runs. I'm not sending anybody out to do that, to play superhero. But you know why? Because what that does, you did something that they didn't expect you to do. If I hold a gun at you, the expectation is that you will just surrender. You won't do anything. So the odd person who decides to lunge at the person with the gun and box him up and take away the gun and well, yeah, you get the picture. So that's part of it too. That's part of it.
Maybe you'd have to be a karate expert or something like that. That's not easy, you know, Mr. Malcolm. Yeah. Because I don't know. Well, maybe for some men, I don't know what I hope and pray that I would never into that situation. Because I can recall when 2018 when they stole my car at Hope Garden, that, you know, one of the police officers said to me, he was happy that they didn't take the car in front of me, like stick me up and take away the car. Didn't see the car. Yes, I went to Papine police station, and that's what one of the police was said to me. Must have said, pray.
Yeah, I see Steve in Toronto, Canada, reminding us that it's really PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome, or something. Yeah, post-traumatic syndrome, meaning if it has happened to you before, then you will always remember it, especially if there's something that triggers it, and it plays negatively on your mind and indeed your body. Yeah.
I just hope, I know, well, for most people it will never happen to them, because just seeing gun on TV can even a little scary, much less seeing it pointed at you, you know. But yeah. Mr. Malcolm, we just need more love with one another. We can. I just really, although so far it's my grandson mother alone I know personal that got killed that way. Violence, kicked down the door and give her a 6 shot. Even when I don't know the individual, Mr. Malcolm, yes. it tears come on my eyes sometimes. I just feel so sad for them, you know, to know you have to bury a child, sometimes even 2. Yes. Goodness, I don't know. Yes. And so, Mr. Malcolm, sometimes I really wonder when we as Jamaican come to this.
And to think this is the country, this is the country that gave the world one love.
This is and so many good things. Usain Bolt and others, Shelley. Yes. The other day, I leave my work, I'm watching them on the TV, and I'm so proud of Shelley and others. Yeah. You know, I'm just proud of Jamaican when they go abroad and build themselves, make something out of themselves, and even sometimes you have them on your station too. So why those young men can't think of something positive and do? Yeah. They, you know, cause trust me, I think some of them, if they had the right parents, they wouldn't turn out to be who they are. Honestly, I believe in that, because as you know where I am, and I grew 2 sons and 1 grandson. My grandson is at Staten now, you know.
Oh my goodness. Time flies. I feel old. Wow.
It's just the other day I was like, don't know, not true.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, man. There's a place on South Camp Road where they take on workers, holiday, government. And he went and pulled out the form, and they call him.
Yes, very good.
That you now put it, the stuff, the tablets what they use and they're going to use on the road to the census.
For census.
He put what needs to be put on it. Yeah, man, I'm so proud of him.
Very nice. I'm happy to hear that.
Proud of him, Mr. Malcolm. Yeah, man, I know you would. I know you would. Anyway, I know we take up no more time, but I am so happy to talk to you, and not only to talk to you, but I didn't have to hold. So I might as well on the internet,
on the
WhatsApp number
WhatsApp.
most of the time.
Yes.
Anyway,
Either
you
way,
take
it's
care of
fine.
yourself.
You
God
too.
be with you and your family.
And also with you.
Continue to do what you're doing, Mr. Malcolm. I really, really love your program.
Thank you.
As I told you, I was just turning the radio one evening, to get something to listen to. And there comes both sides of the story. So in the morning, I listen to other things, but in the afternoon, once I'm here, And thank you. I got some students with the sewing from your radio.
Excellent. Excellent. We're out of time for the segment. Thank you very much for the call.
All right. God bless you.
Bless you too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Protecting Jamaica's borders from illicit imports and exports is a key priority for the Jamaica Customs Agency. The JCA will remain vigilant and resolute in effectively fulfilling this mandate. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30.
This is Jamaica. This is my country. A son of this island, a daughter of this land. Fearless of fear, I stand in awe. Only love prevails, secured in God's hands. This is Jamaica, where joy cometh in the morn, surrounded by mystic waters, crashing upon the shores where only heroes are born. Only if you knew Jamaica as well as I do, then you would utter, I love you, Jamaica. God knows I do. This is Jamaica, a simple speck in the universe. Our hearts beat and pulse in every nation, but only second to the kingdom of God. We put Jamaica first. I am Jamaican, regardless of where you may find me. Black, green, and gold is the marrow in my bones. So if I die away from my island, I pray to God you'll take me home.
It's a Tuesday afternoon, just after 3:30, and that means time for the interview segment of the This is Jamaica interview segment on both sides of the story here on Poro 106 FM. And we are delighted to have as our guest on today's edition of This is Jamaica. Shall we keep you in suspense and give you the background first without calling a name? Well, here goes. Our special guest on the This is Jamaica interview segment here on both sides of the story on Poro 106 FM is a son of Broward. And you might think, oh, this is a foreigner. A longtime resident of Broward County, Florida, which he proudly calls home. The Brooklyn-born child of two community-oriented parents. And I'm going to jump over that a little more, keep you in suspense. After some years in Jamaica, he attended elementary, middle, and high school in Broward. After graduating from Blanche Ely High School in Pompano Beach, Florida, he went on to attend Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. as a passionate and active member of the Georgetown campus leadership. He helped to galvanize classmates and build consensus through participation in the Georgetown University Student Association as freshman representative and chair of the sophomore class committee. That sophomore team proudly provided solid budgets, fun social events, and a consistent amount of community service and cleanup projects. He also served the community as a mentor to local schools. In his junior year, he helped to fully establish and elevate the Caribbean Culture Circle, as well as intern and provide foreign policy insight for his hometown hero, the late Congressman Alcee Lamar Hastings. He also served as president of the Professional Foreign Service Fraternity guiding it through some of its most interactive and service-oriented years. He graduated Georgetown as Senior of the Year, as voted on by the Hoya Georgetown's, the Hoya, which is Georgetown's newspaper of record. Upon graduation, he returned to South Florida, where he worked for Westinghouse Communities, Dell Technologies, improving computer systems for both Miami-Dade and Broward schools, the City of Tamarack, JM Family Enterprise, and the Broward County Property Appraiser's Office. He also worked 5 years for defense contractors while helping to integrate Global Star Satellite Network with a Qualcomm line of products to service the Department of Defense, NSA, DEA, and several departments of law enforcement. In addition, he was a field engineer consultant for the U.S. Geological Survey and U.S. Fish and Wildlife, among others. He has worked in community outreach for several local, statewide, and presidential campaigns. He's committed to the community and currently is outreach lead for Engage Florida and Southeast Regional Director for the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida. Having recently taught 2 days in the legislative process class for the Political Science Department at Spelman College in Atlanta, he's convinced that collaborative training, resource sharing, get out the vote efforts, online and at-home voting, as well as mutual aid between academic and nonprofit organizations is the key to moving social justice and civil rights forward into the 21st century. He volunteers for several nonprofits, including Look Through My Eyes and Beat Baseball for the visually impaired. As an All-American, he wakes up every day with renewed optimism that America is the land best suited to deliver life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all residents within its borders and impact the world beyond. Who are we talking about? I think we're going to break the suspense right now and tell you that our guest on today's edition of the This is Jamaica interview segment, our guest is the son of the Right Honorable, well, he today would be known as the Most Honorable Hugh Lawson Shearer, the third Prime Minister of Jamaica. This is his son, in whom he would be well pleased, Corey Alexander Shearer. Good afternoon to you. I hope we didn't load you up too much.
Dervan, I tell you, with an introduction like that, people must be expecting great things and words of gold, and honey.
I'm sure you'll give us more than that.
We've done a couple things, a couple things. I'm very grateful for the two parents I was blessed to have,
Yes.
and my dad, Hugh Lawson Shearer, as well as my mom, Jasmine Barla Barnaby, from Bensonton, outside of Claremont, St. Anne, and we give thanks, so, we're looking to say what has, Martha Bray brought and what has Bensonton and St. Anne brought. And I give thanks for being not only son of Broward, of course, but son of two parents that are tied deeply to Jamaica.
Yes.
And lovers of not only Jamaica, but humanity,
How early did you have a sense of the world and what was happening around you as an individual?
Interesting that you say that. And right away, that brings me to growing up. I went to Priory initially, and there I had friends that were Jamaican, but also Australian and British, and South African and from India and so forth directly. So I think I remember back then, having friends that I felt deeply about, playmates,
Yeah.
that looked different than me, but yet we were one, right?
Mm-hmm.
As Jamaica says, out of many, one people. And I think my eyes were opened up from that point. But I think my mom also did a lot to open me up to traveling at a young age. not only back and forth from the United States to Jamaica, but also I was in 81 in England, the summer of now King Charles, right?
Yes.
And Lady Diana's wedding. And then from there, being at Georgetown, that has an international, in Washington, D.C. itself, that has, just an international buildup, if you will, every month, every year, there's something and more people coming in and traveling from there. I think that really opens us up to, it's more than just the fishbowl that you're in, right? There's a larger world around you,
yes.
And we have to become aware, right? If you're a fish in that fishbowl, it could seem that, the little man that's there, the iron, diver, right, in the rock, and that's all you know. But if you just look out, you could see that there's far more, right? Whether or not you can ever get there, right?
Yes.
That's a whole other challenge. Yeah.
Well, where were you during the Shearer years? During the years your father was Prime Minister of Jamaica.
And some people always ask me, like, wonder what happened to that 70s baby. So my mom, and I compare it to, for people to understand now, so imagine as if, Barack Obama, not married to Michelle, right?
Yes.
Had gotten, someone got pregnant for him, The amount of people that would say, oh, this is going to be a world leader baby, Other people would say, please, let's not make it inconvenient and just, let's have an abortion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think my mom had positive and negative things come her way, right? By being pregnant with the Hugh Lawson Shearer's baby, a guy well respected and we know, advocated and negotiated, right, for both sides and worked on the international stage, with Britain, India, the U.S., even South Africa and the UN and everything like that. He was well respected, right? You have your up days and down days. People are never always bullish on you, but so well respected. I think that she found it best to go back to New York, right, to just be a mother having a son.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be forever grateful to her for that. So I lived in New York until my dad got out of office. 72, 73, I came back and I was enrolled at Priory. And then around 70, during that time, a lot of Jamaicans were traveling to South Florida, back and forth. We'd do things like go to Orlando, Disney World, go to Broward Mall at that point. And so we were going back and forth, but I ended up returning to the States, to Plantation, Florida. Sometimes the name says it all. In the South Florida area,
Yes.
And so that was at the age of 7. I came back to the States.
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty much during the time that he was deputy prime minister under Reagan in the 80s, I was at that point in Lauderhill Middle School, and then from Lauderhill going to a magnet program in Pompano Beach, Florida. So I was at Blanche Ely, and I didn't understand, all the geopolitics, right, that were going around at that time. But I definitely was aware of politics, of course,
yes.
At that point. But at that point I was here, but traveling to Jamaica, once or twice a year.
Mm-hmm. And what about, has any aspect of your life been, and I'm asking the question because I read something, has any aspect of your life been connected to politics as a result of your exposure, so to speak, in terms of your father? As far as politics is concerned, was it automatic that you would have an interest and would in fact engage in political activity?
Yeah, I'd say any boy mimics, his father. My son loves Wolverine from the comic books, and he's a Wolverine fan. I have to imagine that some of that is not his own choosing, right?
Yes.
It's just being around me, influenced that way. The same way, and he's been involved in politics and helped and serving back and giving to the community. My dad, the same way. I mean, he was a larger-than-life figure, Every time I met somebody, they talked about my dad. In 2004, when he passed, I even heard more stories. But as a young man, there always were stories. Sometimes I couldn't even grasp or fathom, why this person is telling me this, why they moved to emotion, right? But it definitely led me to want to be a lot like him, and I'd say that times away from him.
All right, hold on, don't move. We just need to take a break. Listeners, if you're tuning in for the first time or just getting online, you're listening to Corey Shearer, son of Jamaica's third Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Hugh Lawson Shearer, on the interview segment on both sides of the story for This is Jamaica. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
Tune in every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM. It's your source of information regarding U.S. immigration matters, combined with Power 106 FM's pioneer of diaspora broadcasting. Call in with your U.S. immigration queries and concerns on 876-922-41125 or send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598 and get the answers you need for your U.S. immigration questions. That's Your Legal Corner with Daily Walker Huntington, Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm, only on Power 106 FM.
Just before we continue our conversation with Corey Shearer, son of Jamaica's third Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Hugh Lawson Shearer, thank you very much for staying with us on this This is Jamaica interview segment on both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Just a reminder of the This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship competition in association with Dr. Dwayne Dice of Education Solutions International Incorporated. It's the second annual Peter Gracie This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship competition. And it's a quest for the best video rendition of This is Jamaica, that poem that usually starts off this segment by Peter Gracie. That's what it is about. The general registration opened on the 5th of September and will remain open until the 23rd. And then they'll have the first round video renditions, which must be submitted by the 30th of September. The scholarship was created to empower children to restore and preserve Jamaican culture through poetry, drama, and the arts in general, to explore poetry as an educational building block and promote literacy. And the hope is to inspire and motivate students to express themselves freely through the poem This is Jamaica, written by Peter Gracie. As far as the criteria are concerned, it's open to students 6 to 17 years old who are currently enrolled in school for the scholarship period. They must have the permission of their parents or guardians. They must register at thisisjamaica.org/scholarships. thisisjamaica.org/scholarships. And the scholarship prizes: third place, $250, second place, $500, and first place, $1,000. So go to thisisjamaica.org for more information. thisisjamaica.org. In the meantime, let's continue our conversation with Corey Shearer, son of Jamaica's third Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Hugh Lawson Shearer. So we were asking the nature and extent to which, or the extent to which, you were seeking to, or you have sought to walk in your father's footsteps as far as politics is concerned.
Yeah, I said, not only politics, right, but also the community. My dad was big on schools. Quite a number of schools. I've heard a number of 57 even schools were built, during his time as Prime Minister. He encouraged, Mr. Chin from NTSB, I believe, to stay in school, and they helped him to stay in school in Canada, and that had a tremendous effect on his life. We know that not only my dad, but even other members of not only JLP, but also Ambassador Bernal was very helpful to me in doing some, at Georgetown University. We actually hosted JC Lodge and Half Pint, and had on Georgetown campus hosted informational sessions on Jamaica. And we don't know how that ended up, with people such as like Vice President Biden's, children and the Rothschilds and Pavlov, the Prince of Greece, and other people, a lot of the foreign service, Dr. Bernal and Jamaican leaders interacted with at Georgetown with me at the Delta Phi Epsilon National Service. So, education, right, is always been something that's big in Jamaica. It's not just, talked about. And you think about the scholarship, right? This scholarship opportunity, by the way, $1,000 for first place. I'm trying to see if I can write something myself, and present something myself, get a video in and do something there. But, this has a tremendous impact. When I'm looking at what Peter Gracie is doing with the foundation, Carell Roberts, daughter of Joy Roberts, and all the other people who are involved, exposing those to a competition at a young age, right? And letting them find something in themselves, right? And express that out and getting that then received by a larger audience. You never know what that can lead to. What could that start, right? That could be a future lawyer, could be a future CEO or head of a hospital. It could be your future educator, You never know where that could lead. Future artists and poet and spoken word artists themselves. What they're doing, that spark, we all have had that moment. We remember that moment we did something that made you think, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Or you've had that teacher or organization that has inspired you. Peter Grace with this foundation, the work that they're doing, and the scholarship program, the opportunities they're opening up, that can make a difference. And let's go beyond that, right? Yeah. I know for me, I got $500 a month from Delta Phi Epsilon. I'll be forever grateful. $500 a semester, from Delta Phi Epsilon. Anybody from Delta Phi Epsilon. We have Grace Carrington's here, Doris Select, Miss Hankerson. I've always, Cheryl Dickey's of the world. All those people can always call on me. And you say, what's $500? Not big money. But guess what? Sometimes I can make the difference between you having a little bit of food and a little bit of ink cartridge, right? Yeah. Or being able to print a paper, it can make a tremendous difference if it's even in one paper, right? On 1 week of school. So these things have a tremendous impact, and that can mean a difference sometimes between somebody making it to school on time or making it late, or having a book, not having a book, getting something done. This has value, Yeah, for sure.
All right, some feedback coming in here on Facebook Live. Steve McDonald in Toronto, Canada says, I believe he has a brother in the Toronto area. That seems to be referring to you.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I know my brother Donald, sure, who I'm so proud of, who's done tremendous and is in Washington, D.C. and does tremendous work. And, of course, Harry Lance. Interesting enough, I have a niece that's in charge of food services here for American Express, Okay. And I grew up with my sister, Mishka Gorel. They get a chance to meet, by chance, my sister, Anna Margaret. We've just gotten to know each other over the last 3 years, who is a yoga instructor on South Beach, when I thought that maybe she was in Cuba. I know she was born in Cuba. Okay. I thought, and it turns out she lived in Jamaica, actually, grew up in Jamaica, but was right here, right close to me. And somebody was able to connect us. But I don't know about a brother in Toronto. But if I do have one, I'd like to get to know who that is. Yeah.
He's suggesting Howard Shearer, CEO of Hitachi Canada. But anyway.
I was just in Montreal, actually.
Look at that.
In Canada. Yeah.
But you know how it is with Jamaica. Once there's a name, a familiar name, people say, "Oh, it might be related to so and so and
so and so." Yeah, it could be an uncle or a nephew. Yes, niece and nephews too. But actually, again, my dad was, revered, 6'5" tall. And,
I get the. You just said a lot. You don't need to say anything. Yes. But tell us now about you coming into your own, making a determination as to what direction you wanted to go in and how you wanted to use the talents that you've been gifted with.
Yeah. That direction again comes from, my dad would, I'd have to report to him, but he'd leave me sometimes with like an Errol Anderson or Pernell Charles, Edward Siaga was very instrumental. He gave me one of my first folklores of Jamaica, that he had put together as Minister of Culture with a book of the Nancy stories. So I got a chance to read while I was a student at Georgetown. I'd read them in a place called Red Square, which is the open expression, freedom of expression place. All these things lend you towards the travels abroad, lend you towards, formulating what will your life be. And I truly began to believe that we have an obligation, right, to give back, to build your own household, because you have responsibility there, but to give back to the community that you're around. And essentially some of those things lead you into leadership positions. And those started for me from middle school. I was involved, in even campaigns. 86 was my first campaign for Matt Meadows. And then being not only, someone who did the work, right? So I've always seen myself, like my dad, when he says built by labor, built by labor. That resonated with me in that you have to be work and work important, and I started working at a young age and making my own, but I also would give back. And I was not and never, as most Jamaicans, right? We have a lot of intellect. We study the books, right? But we're not afraid of work, right? That's right. Sometimes, how many jobs you got, And if you don't have enough, you'll say, why are you lazy goat, But in the sense that we work and we have that work ethic. We don't mind starting even from the bottom of the middle of an organization. That's how I was. I worked my way up as publicity director at Blanche Healy. The president of the university a year ahead of me is Reggie Mathis, a really influential attorney at the University of Miami, who's the attorney for Sony Music and Flow Rider and Rick Ross. He's in the air traveling with Flow Rider right now. And then I worked my way up from there to become, president after he left, right? I waited my turn. And same at Georgetown. I started out as a, Georgetown University Student Association, one of 4 representatives who had to work together, freshman representatives. My theme was I go to work, and that resonated. And I worked my way up, sophomore class committee. We did programs, street beautification, cleanups. We had band drives, We put together things over the summer, getting ready for our classmates coming back. I did that both in high school and college, to think of others, right, above yourself, and to have fun doing it. And I had others around me that felt the same, and we had fun doing that. And that's really where we're at in the world nowadays. We have the technology, right? We have the capability. It's the want to, right? Do you want to give back to the community? Do you want to have a say in what's happening, whether it's in your faith-based organization, your mosque, whatever that is? Do you want to make sure that you are looking out for your own family members and seeing, especially at times like this, checking on their mental health, their well-being, having more than just cursory conversations and icebreakers, right? Do you actually want to find out how even your own family members are doing and how your own community and how your neighbors are doing? I think this is a time that all people are called on when we're facing threats of violence and threats of pandemic. We're called on to a higher calling of having some concern for your fellow man or fellow woman. And that's the same feeling that I had. It was instilled in me by my mother, Jasmine Barnaby. It was instilled in me by my father, by the legacy of my dad. And I like to say that I have a famous father, but I have an infamous mother. She was infamous for trying to recognize the value in people and then to amplify that, right, to others. And then that means that you do something about it, right? You've got to do something about it. And I think that's the challenge for all of us, is to find something you're passionate about, do something about it.
And you've been doing a lot, outreach lead for Engage Florida and Southeast Regional Director for the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida, spoken word and African dance movement swag teams for youth and mentoring tomorrow's leaders. You've, in addition to everything else that you've told us, you have been quite busy yourself.
Yeah, and I did want to highlight that when it comes to like the swag teams, that's not something that I personally have done. I participated in like Reverend Michael Young when he's now in Miami, but when he was at Mount Herman here in Fort Lauderdale, I helped install our company's put in their Promethean whiteboards, and we did things. And then we noticed that these kids were doing like swag teams, and they're having fun together, learning and dancing, African dance movements, these spoken word tournaments and events. These are very important to developing our kids, not only their ability to develop the mastery of the English language, right? And in the term, most of our kids are bilingual, by the way, right? They know Patois, they know, they speak maybe a Spanish, right? And English, sometimes the Queen's English, right? Or some English, right? In a sense, then, I got to see how the importance of that and the importance of programs such as Mentoring Tomorrow's Leaders that's here in our schools, where adults and professionals interact with high school students. We can never underestimate the impact of that. You know, in my own life, there was an attorney that, for whatever reason, you know, saw that there was something in me.
Priceless.
Right?
Can you tell us some more about that, please? We're supposed to be wrapping now, but hold on a moment, please. Let's take the break and come right back.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock. On Wednesday, September 21, join us for a live outside broadcast of Power Talk, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. from Shagor Aggregate, 23 Paisley Avenue, Maypen, when we bring you Clarendon Parish Focus. Clarendon at 60, highlighting some of the success stories, issues, and challenges facing the residents of this parish. This live broadcast is brought to you by Shagor Aggregates Limited, National Self-Serve Wholesale, Total Vision, P&D Williams Heavy Equipment Limited, Geoland Title Limited, and the Stoplight Wholesale. That's a broadcast of Power Talk from Shagor Aggregate, 23 Paisley Avenue, Maypen, on Wednesday, September 21, right here on Power 106 FM. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall.
Es en espagnol. Son las 4:01. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:01. 现在几点了？4点02分. A minute past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program. Both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. We're in the This is Jamaica interview segment. Our special guest is Mr. Corey Shearer, son of Jamaica's third Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Hugh Lawson Shearer. And he's been sharing his story with us and his work, his experience, and another interview that seeks to excite and stimulate the interests of the young people who are tuned in, because after all, this is also part of the This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship 2022, which is now open. They're now accepting. They've been accepting submissions since the 5th of September. That will run, I believe, until the 23rd, when you have to make that first submission, etc., etc. You can go to thisisjamaica.org for more information. In the meantime, as we get ready to wrap the segment, I think you are about to talk to us, Corey Shearer, about a particular lawyer who had an impact on your life.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, I do want to mention, you know, that was one impact, and I think I'll bring it back a little bit to the Gracie Scholarship. And first of all, let me just say, in what you had to say there, you know, très bien, you know, muy bien, muy bang, you know, as well. Listen, we live in a multi, you know, national world now. You know, It's more than just the economy; it's social, it's cultural, and beyond. But this is Jamaica. This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship, right? What they've been able to put together between, you know, Peter Gracie and the Kiwanis Club of Lauderhill, you know, Peter, again, Carell, you know, Roberts, I commend, you know, them for what they're doing, because it involves having compassion, right? And then having a passion for delivering on that. This type of program and this scholarship program, we don't know what they are starting, right? We don't know what you're going to do that will affect the next youth, the next leader. And this is a multi-generational effect, right? Because what you do to impact children and to grow children impacts their families as well. We now know that to be true, you know, and it can impact indeed the community and the country as well. So I want to just, you know, wrap up at least by underscoring how seriously I take, you know, this undertaking of the scholarship, and undertake the idea that we should support this, that we should share this, And all those that have any chance, I think you have until the 23rd, that said for submission. There's still time. Anyone who's listening now, and if you know somebody that, it doesn't have to be you, right? It could be a person someone you know, a child you know, a student that you know that should, anyone between the ages of 6 and 18, that it makes sense for them. There's something that you've seen in them that says this is something that they should be involved with. Try to get the information to them. Try to encourage them to complete it and to get it in. I don't want to belabor it, but I will underscore the fact that this can have an impact that lasts a couple lifetimes.
Yes, true. Very well put. Very well said. And we could talk with you all afternoon, but we won't be greedy. we really want to thank you very much for sharing your story, giving us some insights and an appreciation for the ways in which you have sought to learn from your parents, not just your father. And you know how it is because of your father's popularity. Naturally, people will quickly reference your father more than anyone else. But of course,
I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Proud of that.
Yeah.
Forever proud.
Yeah. And I'm sure Peter Gracie is very happy that you said yes when you asked for him to appear on the interview segment of the This Is Jamaica series of activities. Want to thank you very much.
For sure. And I do want to say I love my brother. I'm proud of him. All he has to do is ask. We are the key, and we are in fact the door. And so it just means that we have to act and help one another.
Yes. That's all right. That's a bit of the Jamaican accent coming out right there. Help one another. Yes, wonderful. Well, it's been great. Thank you so much for speaking with us this afternoon, for sharing with us. We should get you to wrap with some of our students in our schools here when you can find the time in your busy schedule.
Sure.
Yeah.
I look forward. I will do that as soon as possible.
Yes.
And Dervan, I think that I thank you for what you're doing and amplifying the others through your platform. And it's only for us then to follow through and actually do something. So
yeah, well, thank you.
To that.
Thank you very much. But you know what I always say is, look, you're the ones doing the heavy lifting. I just feel so honored to be able to share your stories with Jamaica and the diaspora.
I appreciate it. I look forward to hearing more.
Definitely.
Same here. Show.
Same here. Thank you very much. All the best. Bye-bye. It's been a pleasure. Take care. Corey Shearer, son of Jamaica's third Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Hugh Lawson Shearer. He is outreach lead for Engage Florida and a Southeast Regional Director for the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida. And he works in the area of mentorship, mentoring tomorrow's leaders, among other things. Well done, Corey Shearer. Thank you very much for joining us on the This Is Jamaica interview segment on both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM.
This is Jamaica. This is my country. A son of this island, a daughter of this land. Fearless of fear, I stand in awe. Only love prevails, secured in God's. This is Jamaica. Joy cometh in the morn, surrounded by mystic waters, crashing upon the shores where only heroes are born. Only if you knew Jamaica as well as I do, then you would utter, I love you, Jamaica. God knows I do. This is Jamaica, a simple speck in the universe. Our hearts beat and pulse in every nation, but only second to the kingdom of God. We put Jamaica first. I am Jamaican, regardless of where you may find me. Black,
green and gold is the marrow in my bones. So if I die away from my island, I pray to God you'll take me home.
That's it for this week's edition of the This is Jamaica interview segment on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. Here's a reminder. Here's another reminder that This is Jamaica, in association with Dr. Dwayne Dice of Education Solutions International, Inc., hosting the second annual Peter Gracie Poetry, This is Jamaica Poetry Scholarship Competition 2022. General registration opened on the 5th of September and will remain open until the 23rd. The first round of video renditions must be submitted by September 30th. And you heard the criteria earlier on. If you need more information, just go to thisisjamaica.org. Thisisjamaica.org. How about that? Continuing with more on your program, both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, as we said. The regular call-in lines, 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Here's a message from Donald. Donald says, good evening, good afternoon, Donald. He says, Dervan, never knew that Shira had a son. Very interesting interview. Keith in Brownstown, St. Anne. Thank you very much for your message, Keith in Brownstown, St. Anne. And all the very best to you. Let's hop across to Facebook Live and see what's happening. Joan in Bermuda has a cartoon of someone swimming amidst rain and tide and all those things. And that's an indication perhaps of what's happening in Bermuda now. Is that what's happening now, Mrs. Richardson? It's raining in Bermuda. Is it happening? Inez Ayona Campbell says, beautiful interview, Sir Dervan. Thank you very much, Inez Ayona Campbell. Peter Gracie says, great interview. One love, my brother. Thank you very much, Peter Gracie. One love to you too. Thank you all very much for your appreciation. Angela in Toronto, Canada, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much. And of course, thanks to Peter Gracie for the role he plays behind the scenes in coordinating these This is Jamaica interviews. And let's go up the line and clear some more of these messages. Let's hop across to YouTube. Errol in New Jersey, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you on board both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. I'm realizing we still have a backlog of messages. Who is this now? This one. Look around. I believe any boy from somebody called Rico Boss. So this is a takeoff from a cartoon in The Observer. Apologize to all criminals is the caption. We're going to look at it after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15. On Wednesday, September 21, join us for a live outside broadcast of Power Talk, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. from Shakur Aggregate, 23 Paisley Avenue, Maypen, when we bring you Clarendon Parish Focus. Clarendon at 60, highlighting some of the success stories, issues, and the challenges facing the residents of this parish. This live broadcast is brought to you by Shakur Aggregates Limited, National Self-Serve Wholesale, Total Vision, P&D Williams, Geoland Title Limited, and the Stoplight Wholesale. Broadcast of Power Talk from Shakur Aggregate, 23 Paisley Avenue, Maypen, on Wednesday, September 21, right here on Power 106 FM. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall.
Que ahora es en español, son las 4:16. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 4:16. 现在TDN 了4点16分. 16 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable. Education makes you trainable. Training makes you employable. And the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. So someone by the name of Rico has sent us Vernon Darby's blog with respect to the cartoon in the Observer. Should Minister Chang apologize to all criminals? That's the caption. And below that, Rico Boss writes, no, 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 apologize. Dr. Chang did not say anything wrong. People, open your eyes and look around you. I believe any boy that raised a gun against the state or decent Jamaican citizens, now who determines who is a decent Jamaican citizen, should be, oh, this is a little too graphic, what should happen to them and what we should do with gunmen. And the person goes on to say, Rico Boss goes on to say, some of you that are chat, have you ever looked in a gunman gun yet? My 25-year-old niece was killed by some, and a couple of a couple of terms there, styling, I guess they would say on the street for these people. So I don't pet criminals. What rubbish are these people promoting? Gun boys, something another. Gun boys must shoot me, but the police must not kill them. Really? In this Jamaica? From Rico Boss. Well, you make of that what you will, but that's one of the many messages we have received. That's one of the many messages we have received here on both sides of the story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. This person say, Dervan, I have no internet connection to ring you, so I decided to type my message. This morning I was passing Denham Town High School at 9 o'clock and saw a line of students on the outside. Probably those students got to school late and have to stand on the outside. Dervan, I am looking into the situation. That could not be the corrective measure. There could be so many factors why these children are late for school and not looking at the issues. How is the problem going to be solved? This is valuable time lost in terms of learning something. This type of action is not taking place in the upper class school we create in Jamaica. Why the lower class of schools? No, I don't think you're correct on this about upper and lower. I've seen it at schools at right across at every level. So that's not true to say it's only lower class schools, that children who attend lower class schools, so-called lower class schools, who are treated that way. No, it goes right across the board. How education is going to get better in this country when we, the leaders, divide the citizens? Well, your very language a while ago was a language of division. Dervan, it pains my heart to see the abuse. School leaders need to find better ways of dealing with late comers. Right. Well, one way is to reward students. It's very important. We should never underestimate the value of rewarding students when they do what is right. So it means at the end of the term, at least the end of the term, you have a prize for the student who consistently comes to school early, and you make a big thing about it, and you maybe put it up on the notice board as well, and give the young man or young lady a prize, give the student a prize, and others will want to get that prize too, don't you think? So that's one way of encouraging children to be on time. Maybe you could have let's say a special serving of fruits in the morning. So for the students who come to school consistently early, they get fruits, and whatever other little trinkets you can give to them to make them feel that they have done the right thing. And this is what happens when you do the right thing. You're rewarded. We do know there are students who loiter on the streets and loiter at the bus parks and taxi stands and waiting on special bus with certain recordings and lyrical content and so on that they want to listen to, and so on and so forth. There is all of that too and more. But educators have to take or should take an educated position. Right? A position that is informed by data or some sense of some trend data to show what has happened, what hasn't happened, etc., etc. So incentivize arriving. Yes, thank you very much, Steve in Toronto, Canada. Positive reinforcement. It can't always be, and it shouldn't always be about the big stick, so to speak, where we punish them and punish them and punish them. No, positive reinforcement. So we have a prize for the student or students, the top 5 or something like that, the top 5 students who are always early, and then those who are never absent, for example, etc. Incentivize and see what difference it makes. I believe it should make a big difference. We must celebrate children when they do what is right. Celebrate students when they achieve, when they perform, when they exude the kind of behavior that we want of the next generation, etc., etc. So that's what I would suggest, Arlene. Thank you very much for your message nonetheless. And the hope is that you would keep them in a holding area. In the case of what you saw, you say they were locked out for being late. There should perhaps be a holding area within the compound or on the school compound, so that if there has to be some kind of punishment, then within that particular space. But surely we can do it another way. Positive reinforcement in terms of incentivizing. Reward the students. They love that, they love rewards. They love rewards. Which child doesn't love rewards? They love rewards. As my late mother would say, encouragement sweeten labor. You encourage the children. When the children do the right thing, when they do well, celebrate them like it's the last day on earth. Celebrate them when they do well, because that is going to act as motivation for them to continue doing well and even better than they're doing. Celebrate them. It's very important. It can't be that every day you get up morning, noon, and night and you cuss the picnic them, cuss the picnic them, cuss the picnic them. That's miserable. Somebody has sent a message, Jamaica 60, an aged myth. All right. Thank you for your message. And let's go down the line and see who else is messaging us. Oh, what's this? Jamaican killed in St. Kitts on Saturday. Sorry to hear that. Let's going through the line here. Quite a few messages. Rastafari is the only hope for a better future for, this is from Barry. He says, Rastafari is the only hope for a better future for the world. Source of wisdom flowing from the Universal Scientific Associates, facilitating the 21st century information technology industry from Jamaica to the world. And Barry wants us to follow him on YouTube. Barry, you can start by following yourself. Thank you very much for your message. Clarky Blessing, Hunstown, St. Mary. Good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your earlier message. And let's see, who is this now? It seems it's the season for the expression time come, because I'm seeing a press release here. Hold on. I'm seeing a press release from Advocates Network, and it says, time come to move on, act now. And let's see the essence of it. Now that the official period of mourning for the death of the Queen has ended, which greatly distracted the government from its focus on serving the people of Jamaica, the Advocates Network calls on the government of Jamaica to expedite the process of removing the monarch, King Charles III, as head of state. It is now more than 6 months since Prime Minister Holness announced in Parliament that we will establish an advisory committee, including bipartisan representatives, to advise the government on how to move Jamaica from a constitutional monarchy to a republic. He noted that the approach must be collaborative and guided by expert advice. Days later, on March 24, 2022, he uttered those famous words to the Duke of Cambridge, William, "We are moving on." We note that the 2022-2023 budget has taxpayers funding some $572,205,000 associated with a new Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs established in January 2022. The primary objective was to reform the Constitution to enable Jamaica to transition from a constitutional monarchy to a republic. We note with great concern that over these 8 months, there has been no agenda, plan, nor strategy to achieve this objective. On June 7, 2022, the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Minister Marlene Malahoo Fort, in her sectoral presentation in Parliament, promised to establish the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC. The minister also promised to keep everyone up to date on all progress made. To date, nothing. Time come, the loud cry of the Jamaican people, more strongly amplified internationally since the death of the Queen, is to finally remove the monarch as head of state. The Advocates Network calls on the government to immediately provide a timeline for 1, establish the CRC, Constitutional Reform Committee, and informing the public how they will be involved in reforming the Constitution. 2, start a public education process to inform Jamaicans about the process of becoming a republic, including the importance of constitutional reform, and 3, tabling the required legislative bill in Parliament to ensure the removal of the King as head of state by Jamaica's 61st celebration of independence on or before August 6, 2023.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 4:30.
Where black is the color, where none is the number. And I'm telling them,
The Advocates Network urges the government to act now. It has been more than 27 years since the Joint Select Committee on Constitutional and Electoral Reform agreed to remove the monarch as head of state. The Advocates Network will continue its collaboration with the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, JAMP, the Integrity Action, National Integrity Action, NIA, and the Institute of Law and Economics, ILE, in building public awareness through the series of public discussion fora entitled Our Jamaican Republic. Our next forum, entitled King Charles III, Change, Not Continuity for Jamaica, will be held in October 2022. That's the latest press release from the Advocates Network. What do you think? Let's continue with more on your program. Both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. I think we have gone through all the messages, have we? Let's go up the line. Oops, we have more. We have more. Quite a few more. All right, let's go with this one. MH in Albion, St. Thomas says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I was very disappointed to listen to Raskava's comments this afternoon on our PM's mode of transport at the Queen's funeral, that he had traveled by bus. He made it sound as though those of us who use buses are second-class people. Those buses or coaches would have been very comfortable and give more visibility for its occupants, less pollution and added security. Does he remember Mr. Golding's mode of transport when he became PM? I'm disappointed, Ras, MH in St. Thomas. Thank you very much, MH in St. Thomas, for your message. Albion St. Thomas, to be precise. Horace, otherwise known as Spider, says, I'm calling on all tradespeople to make your voice be heard on this matter. You know, you're in Georgia, in America. It's a pleasure to call the tradespeople buying their materials from Home Depot store in the morning and heading out to their work site, and they don't have any special license plate. Sometimes you have to wonder why we are lagging behind for so long, says Horace, otherwise known as Spider. Franklin McDonald says, greetings from Guelph, Ontario. I hope you will have time to interview someone on the ground in the Turks and Caicos Islands so we can hear how Hurricane Fiona is affecting them. The Turks and Caicos' Power FM radio station is doing a good job of keeping everyone informed about Fiona and her activities so far. The news team is on to that. Franklin McDonald, thank you very much for your message. Franklin McDonald in Guelph, Ontario, Canada. Another message from Keith in Brownstown, St. Anne. Good evening again. Good afternoon. Still afternoon here in Jamaica. Keith, he says, Dervan, Dr. Chang was wrong when he said that he won't send an ambulance to pick up a gunman shot by the police. The Prime Minister should discipline Dr. Chang for that part of his speech. He is inhumane, says Keith in Brownstown, St. Anne. Patriot Jamaican in New York has a thread of messages. Let's start with the first piece. Mr. Malcolm, did I correctly hear you say the other day that Heroes Circle has been officially renamed Crab Circle? No, just the section where the crab vendors are. That area is called Crab Circle. Heroes Circle is still Heroes Circle. But the section where the crab vendors, the section occupied by the crab vendors, is referred to as, I think it's Crab Circle, they call it. And the rest of the message. And if that's the case, does that mean Heroes Park is now Crab Park? No, patriotic Jamaican. And will the new Parliament building be named Crab House? Crab House instead of Gordon House? No. I prefer Heroes Circle, Heroes Park, and Gordon House, says patriotic Jamaican in New York. And he goes on. And Mr. Malcolm, thank you for clearing up the issue for me the other day. Re the boom sound made by the singers of the national anthem. Well, would you believe that no sooner after I wrapped the program and exited the studio, my good friend Christopher Daly was in the passageway, and I was telling him what I was saying on the radio about Jamaica boom. After asking a number of times, no one was able to explain it, says patriotic Jamaican in New York. You did, and I thank you. You're welcome. It goes on to say, Mr. Malcolm, believe it or not, there are some students who would not want that prize of punctuality and good behavior. Some of them would go as far as ridiculing the well-behaved students and call them names. And these days in Jamaica, the people who are looked up to and respected seem to be those who break the rules and behave badly. It sounds awful, Mr. Malcolm, but it's true. Well, I'm not sure the extent to which. I know for a fact that once students are getting incentives, like the students of Jamaica College, I think it's JC, when they get, for example, 95%, they get, is it $9,500 or $95,000, something like that. Those who know can tell us. Incentives. Yeah, and that money could go towards, you could arrange to have it go directly to an account and some kind of interest-bearing account. Albert in Coconut Creek, Florida says, time come. I'm certain I heard the minister in an interview making it clear that the process is in train and very soon a draft document will be taken to the parliament. Are these folks listening or are they reacting to the public sentiments? That's Albert in Coconut Creek, Florida. Thank you very much for your message on Facebook Live. Keep the messages coming in here on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. All right, watch this now. Let's see. 17. Okay, let's go to the phone lines. 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
I am giving thanks for life. And you?
Good. I've been listening to the program. I hope you mark my present.
Yes, indeed.
You know, I say for the past 2 days, you've been put on some lyrics from Bob Dylan.
Yes.
The one you played last Friday, Blowing in the Wind.
Yes.
You know, that was the song that Sam Cooke heard that inspired him to write that song, I Was Born by the River.
Oh, I think that's what you referenced some time ago when you called. I think that's what you were talking about.
Yes, but I heard him in an interview on YouTube, and he was saying, when he heard that song, he was saying, oh, a white man is singing a black man anthem. Mm-hmm. Because all the thing that Sam can know was the plight of the black man.
It's true, because there's another one. Oh, you always wonder why I'm dressed in black. Man in Black. You know that one?
Yes.
Yes. Why you? Sorry, go ahead.
Once the NAACP will try to adapt that song, you know, Going in the Wind, you know.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why did they back off? What happened?
Because Sam Cooke wrote that song, I was born by the river.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I call you about, you see, I like the suggestion from the lady who talk about incentivizing the youth at school.
It was actually my suggestion, but it's all right.
That's good enough.
Yes. Yeah, we have to be careful that we don't uh, mash them down, in a manner of speaking, where their self-esteem falls apart and they just let themselves go. Can't afford that.
I really, the youth don't invent anything which all they do is imitate what the adults do.
True.
Because there's a disparity of treatment from the adult to the youth when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, if it was on the wrong side of the road, adults would try to instruct them.
Yes.
But nowadays, that's still the youth that you don't even give them a suggestion. I'm not even talking about advice. You don't even suggest nothing to them.
Yes.
Everybody, most people see the youth as a time bomb now.
True.
And the one that you talk about, the delinquent one, it's marginal.
Mm-hmm.
And you always had that. Because I remember when I was going to high school, I passed this kid every morning for about 8 weeks. And I didn't know we went to the same school.
Oh no. He was sitting it out.
Yes, in the morning he was waiting for his parents to go away so he could go back home.
Oh dear.
When they found out, it was about the last month of the term. And when they brought him to school, he spent the rest of the term in the staff room so the teacher could get to know him.
And keep an eye on him. Yeah. But this is what I mean when I came up with the third part, which actually forms the first part of the quotation I share on this program. Socialization makes you educable. You have to be socialized to learn. Because look at this young man you're talking about. It apparently didn't mean anything to him. He would much prefer to be out on the street as opposed to going to school. It's some of them need a bit of convincing.
I know he ended up being a A student.
Well, there you go.
We're friends up to this day. He lives in New York.
So it's a good thing the teachers did what they did.
And the parents too.
And the parents. There you go.
Yes.
So this is the thing. This is how we have to observe them. We have to listen to them. We have to understand them, try to understand them, and try then to reach them where they are. Because what we don't want to do is to push them away by virtue of our words and deeds.
Because why we should listen to them too? Some people accept it just because they have good parents. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the world as it is now. It's very unkind.
It is.
Especially when it comes to the economics.
Mm-hmm.
That parents are barely surviving.
Yeah, well, here's my thing when it comes on to that. As I keep saying on this program, nobody should be allowed to go hungry in this country. At the minimum. In other words, while we are doing everything else, let's make sure that people are being fed. Let us at least start there. And then within the schools, and this is why I'm grateful to past students who give back to their alma mater, etc., with breakfast programs, etc. But talk to somebody, go to the school, speak with a guidance counselor, and find out what options are there for your children at school or your child at school who you're not able to afford to feed and to outfit as far as uniform and so on. Because there are past students in any school you can think of in Jamaica. There are past students who, if the matter is brought to their attention, and the past students associations, alumni associations, etc., it's the concept of the village. It's the concept of the village raising the child. We have to go back there.
Well, there's an antidote to that too.
What's that?
The village that did not raise the child, did not give him any oil. That means, prompting someone.
Yes.
That child was going on the village just to get someone,
Yeah, well, this is it. This is why I'm always talking about looking out for the children, taking care of the children, not abusing the children, etc.
And honestly,
sorry, one moment, don't move. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play with its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
Que hora es en español? Son las 5:15. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5:15. 现在几点了？5点加15分. 15 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. And good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Thanks for holding. You were saying?
I'm saying,
Say that again.
It's not easy being a youth now.
No, you're right. It isn't easy. I believe you. I believe you. I know what you're talking about. It's not easy. True. Because they have never, no other generation up to this point has had the kind of distractions that these young people have to essentially fight, pretend as if it's not there, trying to stop all these distractions from overpowering them.
Starting with the messages.
Yeah.
That is been sent by others, because we find people who are detected and they're still labeled honorable.
Yeah, well, it's one of the diplomatic, a term that is now more diplomatic than anything else, quite frankly.
So the truth gets cancelled in diplomacy.
No, it doesn't get cancelled. It's one there. I think it's really an attempt more than anything else to keep institutions together. Now recognize that people come and people go. But institutions, we have to fortify our institutions in such a way that even when people go, and those who really should go because of their compromised positions, that the institution remains.
All right. I think the problem is the lack of indulgence in reading,
Yeah, and especially in these days when a lot of us are into ebooks and we're into shorthand, in a manner of speaking, in terms of just looking at the cover of a book or the back of a book or just reading the first page, and that's it.
All right. So for example, on Facebook, whenever they're accounted,
yeah.
When people have followers, it's a fan-based thing,
Yeah.
We become personality cult. So sometimes you can't even disagree with the person you follow. You can't argue with it. You don't say anything wrong with them.
No, well, in the final analysis, the individual has to make a choice or make a decision whether he or she will become a slave to the material and those pushing out the material, or will act independently.
I understand that, because that's all you're exposed to, whether believe that's the truth.
Yeah, well, again, it comes back to the poor and in some cases overburdened parents and guardians to protect the children from from that practice.
All right. If knowledge, as they say, is truly power, how we get back to acknowledging the importance of reading, finding his own truth?
Well, it has to be fun. Make it fun. Make it interactive. And that's something some of us don't do well in terms of imparting knowledge, or just generally speaking in the teaching environment. We ourselves are bored in terms of the subject that we teach, and we don't know how to hide that, so we pass on that spirit of boredom to the children, and they can't bother with that particular class or to read that particular book. But if we make it exciting, if we lift the words off the page and take the characters out of the book and make the connection with what is happening in today's world, in our households, in our communities, it's etc. etc. It should help. It should help.
It comes right back to something I read that the boy said. He said, teachers of teachers should be broad-minded to encompass more or less all of the facets of life. That's my wording, right? Yes. That's paraphrasing in that area. Because as a people, we could be bright with numbers but ignorant about life.
We could be, say that again, please.
Right with numbers.
About
life.
Well, this is it, and this is why socialization is so important at all levels. At all levels, a level of socialization that is concerned with the whole being, the whole person, not just the academics, not just the athletics, not just the social media savvy, but building character. Character education is key if we are to achieve what we're really setting out to achieve. Character education. What is integrity? What is honesty? What is truth? What is trustworthiness? Etc. etc. Building. Sorry, go ahead.
Overall, we're compromised by the economics of teaching, because sometimes the people that contribute to your group in all your cause, you cannot say certain things about them. They deserve criticism.
The people what?
Who make financial contribution to whatever cause you're endeavoring to bring to fruition. You can't be.
No, but you see, this is why I've never been involved in sales, because as I always tell the salespeople, I don't want to be in a position where I am in direct contact with a sponsor to the point where that sponsor is contributing to advertising on this program. In fact, if you listen to this program, you hardly hear any advertising. There's hardly any advertising on the program.
There was a millionaire who gave up a radio station in New York and California just for that very reason.
Yeah. I want to be able to speak my mind. I don't want, Tony Leng, the late Tony Leng, bless his soul. Tony Leng used to say, one of the things he used to say, him now want to put himself in a position where people are listening on the radio and I say, here we out. I'll never forget that. It's something he always said. And it makes sense, because some people are able to say that because, in fact, they are paying for play, so to speak.
Yes. All right. When you come back to the point of incentivizing, right?
Yes.
Those people who put up the money for the band, for Camilla Johnson to verify office, a common secretary, right? Don't you think that money will be better spent in the incentivize attendance in school?
Well, the money has been spent already, so that is like you're inflicting pain, because I can understand the pain you feel that other areas could have been funded. Yes. So by repeating it over and over, it gets more painful actually, because the money is spent already.
That's why I say it's by design to reduce value of knowledge, because when you're knowledgeable, you don't accept certain things, you know.
Yeah, well, again, it comes back to character. It's not so much knowledge as character, because knowledge is important. It's good to know. It's good to know, and to be able to use that knowledge in life. But what kind of human being are you? What kind of person are you?
I don't think character is independent, you know.
Is what? Independent?
Yeah, in that it's by itself, you know. It does not include other areas of life, you know. That makes you.
No, but it is essential. It is essential.
Yes. But in acquiring knowledge, you'll have more empathy for other causes. That's separate from your own. You'll be more conciliatory.
Sorry, you're over modulating, so sometimes I don't hear clearly what you're saying.
I'm saying having additional knowledge that would improve your character. That would make you have more empathy, more understanding of issues that's not even personal, quality, and many.
Yeah, it all works together. It's like a machine. It's like an operation. All the parts work together to make it happen.
And that it makes you curious, man. It's a question things.
Well, I do that every day. I mean, I pick up something and I say, you know, why is this thing called what it is called? And which is one of the reasons I actually watched a lot of the coverage in the UK recently, because the English are the ones who know English, and their use of words and how they describe. So I was learning some of the words that are used to describe certain things, certain rights, rights, etc. So I go to the source. I always like to go to the source. They are the ones. Yes.
I do too, because I really enjoy listening to English commentator describing a football game.
I thought I was the only one. Jeez, beautiful. Yeah.
Sometimes I prefer listening than watching it.
Yes, man. Yes, man. That's what happens when you can master the English language. When you master it.
It's everything.
Yes, man. You're spot on.
And you actually learn from it. And sometimes you're even English for somebody tells you.
Absolutely, because I'm not a fanatic of football. I or any sport for that matter. But I have to listen to the BBC on a Saturday, for example, or a Sunday to listen to the commentary.
That's at my church on Saturday.
Yes.
Well, Dervan, have a good evening.
You too. Thanks for the call. Take care. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Tuesday, the 20th of September, 2022. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
Where the pellets of poison are flooding their water. Where the home in the valley meets the captor to prison. Where the executioner's face is always well hidden. Where the hunger is ugly, where souls are forgotten. Where black is the color, where none is the number. And I tell it and think it and speak it and breathe it. And reflect it from the mountain so all souls can hear it. And I stand on the ocean until I start sinking. And I know my songs well before I start singing. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's a falling. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's it's a hard rain is a falling.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.
Bye.